Tattoos are the movie's main character. The well-known Polish boxing champion Tadeusz Pietrzykowski is currently incarcerated at the brand new Auschwitz concentration camp. Teddy was shown standing in a line in the first scene. He closed his eyes and thought back to the days when he used to practice boxing in his backyard. That faithful day is made clear. A few German troopers powerfully attacked his home and carried him to this inhumane imprisonment inside the bounds of the camp. Teddy and the other prisoners suffer horrendous treatment and are forced to work hard throughout the day. In return, they are crammed into a single room and denied a suitable sleeping space. Also, they only get a watery soup for lunch, which is clearly not enough for them to work all day. Because of this torture, the prisoners get deadly diseases and die one by one. This treatment affects everyone, even teenagers. One of them is Yannick, a 15-year-old boy who is frequently bullied by others. An elderly prisoner tells a group of fellow inmates about his plan to flee the concentration camp on one workday. Unfortunately, a guard overhears their conversation, so he approaches the elderly man from behind, violently strikes him in the head with a heavy rod, and kills him, because it frightens everyone present. They appear, however, to be accustomed to such barbaric acts. Later that day, Yannick recognizes Teddy as the best boxer and approaches him. The young boy then says from Warsaw that he loves Teddy a lot, reviewing how he used to watch his boxing exhibitions on TV. In any case, Teddy alerts Yannick against talking about their ways of life as this death camp recognizes anybody's uniqueness. The following day Teddy is relegated to work at the home of a German general, quickly jumping all over this chance. He hid apples inside his clothes by stuffing them there. After that, he gives Yannick an apple, who generously provides it to an elderly man. Teddy encourages him to eat it himself as he observes this act of kindness. A group of German soldiers discovered the stolen suddenly, inspect and detain Teddy, Yannick and the elderly man. They are taken to a place where people are put to death, where soldiers brutally punish those who defy them. The elderly man is initially instructed to crown his head with an apple. Nonetheless, rather than taking shots at the apple, the warrior takes him at the elderly person's head and unfortunately shoots him to death. Isaac Newton is still right after the apple still hits the ground. The apple is also placed on Teddy's head, but he refuses and chooses to eat it instead. Surprisingly, the soldiers decide to spare Teddy's life because of his bravery display. However, right in front of Teddy, they seize Yannick and subject him to a severe punishment. The protagonist feels a lot of this pain, but he can't do anything about it. That night, Teddy is unable to sleep because he is still overcome with guilt over the young boy's involvement in all of this. In the meantime, a heartbreaking scene takes place. Is a large Jewish community. A soldier herds everyone, including young children, into where he then unleashes lethal gas on everyone and mercilessly takes their lives. As days passed, the detainees' circumstance becomes progressively troublesome, as they are compelled to initiate their severe work before dawn, with even less food than previously. At some point, a warrior throws a piece of food onto the ground, setting off a frantic battle among the destitute detainees. The soldier seems to enjoy this scene as he tries to get it. As a result, he makes a new plan. He arranges two detainees to take part in a challenge of slapping, announcing that, following the first round, the winner will receive an additional serving of food. Using his skills as a boxing champion, Teddy has entered the competition. He attacks with ease and strikes out, winning the fight. After that, Dana White appears and declares, "I believe I can make some money from this." A German officer who also happens to be a boxer shows up shortly after and challenges Teddy to a match of first blood. The latter immediately accepts. Thus the match starts all along. Teddy is the target of incessant attacks by the officer. However, our hero successfully dodges every blow. He also seizes victory by striking the officer in the face with a powerful punch whenever the opportunity presents itself. The German officer is impressed by Teddy's skill and bravery, so he shows his appreciation for it by giving him a substantial loaf of bread. After that, Teddy goes back to his fellow inmates and gives them the food. Teddy notices that Yannick has a persistent cough and cold as a result of not getting enough food and rest, which is getting worse as everyone is enjoying their meal. Since escalating to a fever that eventually progresses to pneumonia, I have been deeply concerned for the boys' well-being. The following morning, Teddy approaches the same German officer and begs for food and medicine. Teddy is required to comply with the officer's condition, but the officer is willing to assist. Following this, the official escorts Teddy to his bosses and educates them concerning his uncommon boxing abilities, recognizing that the camp lacks any form of entertainment. The official proposes putting together a bout where Teddy would go head-to-head against different contenders. The officer manages to persuade his superiors to give it a shot, despite their initial reservations about whether the skinny Teddy can withstand even a rank. The scene then cuts to Teddy's first camp boxing match, where he faces another experienced boxer. As the match starts, Teddy regards himself as cornered by his rival in the main round. Notwithstanding, he gets back in the saddle in the subsequent round, conveying a progression of strong punches that eventually leads into triumph. Rudy, the son of the German general, who is among the spectators, is also impressed by this achievement, as are the German superiors. As an incentive, Teddy receives additional food and water. He also gets a promotion to work in the horse stable, where he gets more food and security. Sometime thereafter, to receive treatment for his wounds, Teddy goes to the camp's hospital. He approaches the nurse and requests pneumonia medication once his treatment is complete. The nurse seems kind, so she gives Teddy a lot of different medicines, unlike the camp guards. Teddy then travels to the sick ward, where a number of employees are in critical condition. He gives Yannick medication for pneumonia and gives the remaining medication to a medical professional. Teddy has more free time now that he works at the horse stable, which he uses to practice boxing. Yannick finally recovers after a few weeks. What's more, Teddy sets up for him to work at the clinic there. The little fellow meets a lovely young lady named Halcyon, and the two immediately become friends. Through improved diet and rest, Teddy gets in shape over time. The situation for Yonex also improves, but the other prisoners continue to suffer in the same way that they are treated inhumanely, just as animals and Jewish people are routinely executed in cruel ways. Additionally, inadequate medication and care in the sick ward contribute to a significant number of deaths. Teddy does everything in his power to help his fellow inmates. He wins every match he participates in and gives his fellow inmates the food he receives as a reward. In addition, in order to alleviate the suffering of the prisoners, he secretly transports essential medications from the infirmary to the sick ward. In the hope of seeing someone new, German soldiers one day summon a formidable opponent from another prison to face Eddie. However, Teddy prevails over the larger man due to his exceptional agility and boxing skills, in the end, keeping him safe. The triumph. As a result, Teddy appears to receive a larger amount of food as a reward, which, as he has done in the past, he gives to his fellow inmates with charity. Call him Teddy Roosevelt, since this man is smooth. Rudy gets sick in the next scene, and the doctor tells him he has typhoid. The general is devastated when the young boy dies tragically from the disease. Teddy sees dead bodies being carried outside the camp gate the following morning. The bodies turn out to be those Teddy defeated in the boxing match, much to his dismay. He decides to stop fighting because he feels so much guilt. Yannick, on the other hand, tells Teddy that he is the prisoner's only hope and encourages him to keep going when he learns of this. The same evening, not surprisingly, a gathering of Jewish individuals are requested to shape a line and enter the gas chamber. This time, the gathering incorporates Alcia, who had been discovered taking food. One of the fighters holds her at gunpoint, requesting she took off her dress suddenly, shoots the soldier instead of grabbing his gun. The remaining soldiers fire in retaliation, tragically killing Alcia. Other innocent prisoners are also shot at in the midst of the chaos. Ionic is devastated by the loss of Halcyon and sees the horrifying event from a distance. Later, it becomes clear that the German general has also been shot in the hand, which is why he has gone to the hospital. He finds out there that Yannick was given the job of working in the hospital without the proper authorization. Thus, the general arrests Yannick and subjects him to unbearable treatment. The following day, Teddy learns of this and approaches higher-ranking officials to demand the boy's release. However, the authorities are determined to secure Ionick's freedom and deny his request. In exchange for Yonex's release, Teddy offers to fight the best German boxer Hammerschlag. In addition, Teddy stipulates that he will not participate in any more matches if the officials reject the agreement. The officials decide to accept after some thought. They have a strategy in place to prevent Teddy from winning the match. The altercation takes place at night. And as the match gets underway, Teddy struggles to defend against Hammerschlag's torrent of attacks in the first round. His foe is able to easily defeat him. However, Teddy manages to land some significant punches on Hammerschlag in the second round, watching as their top boxes are beaten. The officials give the referee a covert signal to announce a round break. The authorities then, at that point, make Teddy drink a baffling fluid prior to beginning the third round. The effects of this mysterious drink are soon apparent, causing Teddy to feel dizzy and blurry in his vision. Schlager's hammer turned out to be even more potent than Goldschlager. Teddy is knocked to the ground as a result of Schwartz taking advantage of this advantage. Soon after Teddy regains his footing and requests to continue fighting, the German officials immediately declare their boxers the match's winners. In response, the soldiers bring a severely wounded Jan out of hiding and throw him in front of Teddy, one of the higher-ranking officials. Teddy, to fight against the boy or risk being shot and killed by Januk. Our hero hesitates for a while because he doesn't want to cause any more harm to his best friend. Tragically, on account of this slight thought, one of the warriors savagely shoots on it and kills him on the spot. Additionally, Teddy is hung from a pole for the entire night. Since returning from vacation, this is the first story I've read. A soldier frees Teddy from his chains the following morning and tells him to go back to work. These vibes sucks. In any case, he rather advances toward the region where the departed bodies are being incinerated with crushing sadness. Teddy tries to find Yonex, but all he finds is a toy that belongs to him. Teddy holds it and cries for a while, but he eventually gathers his strength and makes a brave promise to defeat Hammerschlag. He then enters the boxing ring, where Hammerschlag is fighting other prisoners, with renewed determination. Everyone is surprised when Teddy challenges the big guy to a duel and he accepts right away, especially a guest in the audience who turns out to be the warden of a different prison who knows Teddy from there. The warden places a wager in Teddy's favor because Warsaw is confident in his abilities. The match starts. Additionally, Teddy deliberately takes no retaliation at first when his adversaries throw punches at him. Despite the blood stains on his face, he continues to smile. But when the time is right, he does it. The best German boxer is knocked to the ground by Teddy's strong counterattacks, which ultimately result in victory. Teddy is hailed as the champion of the Auschwitz camp by the prisoners in the audience, who break out in cheers. Dazzled by his ability, the superintendent of the other jail moves toward the general and asks Teddy's exchange to their office. Because of this, in a scene after the credits, Teddy is released from the Auschwitz camp and transferred to another prison. It comes to light that Teddy fought on in additional concentration camps. After returning to his hometown years later, the police ultimately free him. Teddy begins preparing small kids in the game of boxing. Turn on notifications, please subscribe for more videos like this, and like the channel to support it. Thank you very much for watching.